The Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for this Friday, October 6th. Taking a look at precipitation over the past 7 days, you can see we had quite a bit across the higher terrain of the central mountains of Idaho into western Wyoming and right along the Idaho border with Utah and Nevada. The blue here indicates about a quarter or half inch of rain and lighter amounts further south. So basically about 2/3 of the Great Basin received some wetting rains over the past 7 days. On the right-hand side, you can see the percentages of normal. Even though there was some precipitation across Utah and Nevada, most of it was below normal except across some of the mountains here in Nevada, above normal precipitation across the higher terrain of eastern Idaho into parts of Wyoming. Now, looking at snowfall over the past 3 days, we did have some significant amounts here across parts of northern Nevada, where they received over 6 inches of snow here in the yellow, and also in some of the mountains up in the Sawtooths here in Idaho. The lighter shades of blue is basically 1 to 3 inches in other spots. And overall snow depth still on the ground. Of course, the map on the left is from 3 days ago, over the past 3 days. A lot of that has melted, but still some snow cover in the Uintas and across mountains of central Idaho, and in some of the higher terrain areas in western Wyoming. So that could create some deeper inversions in some spots, also prohibit some surface burning in other areas. Looking at satellite imagery and upper-level maps superimposed, a deep low-pressure system over southern Idaho continuing to provide cool temperatures, good dispersion, with decent westerly winds and lots of cold air aloft through here. Some clouds and showers, possible snow in the mountains up in Idaho. We have high pressure building in behind this system up in California, with more low pressure now dropping down out of the Gulf of Alaska and a closed low well off out into the Pacific. What you see to the right is tropical storm moisture surging northwards. So looking at this afternoon on the upper level map on the left, you can see that we have more of a wintertime or fall look to the map with the tight height lines, drier air pushing on in on northwest winds. Moisture now seems to be moving out. Trough of low pressure, which was over us, is quickly shifting out to the east. We do see that our overall dispersion or ventilation, the best will be in the white, lower values in the red. So decreasing a bit across Nevada, still pretty good dispersion across eastern southern Utah. Pretty poor up in Idaho, especially where they have some snow cover on the ground. If we look at a combination of transport winds on the left, you can see where the lighter winds are across a good portion of Nevada and parts of central western Utah. Otherwise, pretty good winds in a lot of other regions. The vertical mixing component, the mixing heights, you can see are quite low across Nevada, and also in pockets up here in Idaho. Otherwise, still a couple of thousand feet in most other locations. Now on Saturday, a big trough of low pressure centered across Hudson's Bay, a fast flow of air, fairly dry air coming in. We'll have to watch for some winds coming off the Sierra as well. You could see 20 to 35-mile-an-hour winds coming off the Sierra front. Where you see areas in white, dispersion is fairly good. Areas in purple, we'll see some rather poor dispersion conditions through here. So the worst of it will be more in our eastern areas. On Saturday, we'll see transport winds decent across the northern 2/3 of our area. You'll also see some good ventilation or good vertical mixing here. We see areas in green and yellow across our northern areas. A bit of an inversion setting up across parts of central and southern Utah. Now on Sunday, a deeper trough of low pressure will push down across Idaho and bring a cold front into parts of Utah. Cooler air aloft. That means overall good dispersion. A lot of these areas where you see the white. Some lingering poor dispersion here in the purple, but that'll be quickly moving on out. And on Sunday, you can see transport winds quite good across a good portion of Nevada into at least the western half of Utah and into parts of Idaho as well. Vertical mixing heights, for the most part, not too much in the purple or blue. The yellows that you see are 3,000 feet or higher above ground level. The oranges are 5,000 feet or higher. Some pockets of inversions up in Idaho and western Wyoming should be just about it. Now focusing more on Utah, the Utah Clearing Index for today, the orange and reddish colors indicate much better overall dispersion. So you have pretty decent conditions today, taking a nosedive in southern and eastern areas for tomorrow, and improving somewhat on Sunday with that next trough of low pressure. Looking at the 3-day precipitation accumulation, the best chances will be up in Idaho, where a couple of hundredths to perhaps a quarter of an inch of precipitation possible. Also here in the Uintas, maybe 4/10 of an inch of precipitation. A lot of this is going to come in the form of snow in higher elevations above 7,000 feet. Now, if we look down the road for Monday, trough low pressure moves on by. Lots of fast changes. Weak high pressure building on in. But ventilation overall still looks pretty good. Now on Tuesday, another trough of low pressure is now coming in. Winds will be increasing out of the west and southwest, dry air. Overall good dispersion, except maybe in the Uintas or in some of our far eastern areas. On Wednesday, we're kind of in zonal flow in between high and low pressure. As the winds weaken, we see our overall dispersion of ventilation starting to decrease a little bit. Areas in red and purple expanding in coverage. The best dispersion, we see areas in white and yellow, will be across the south. And on Thursday, deep low pressure at this point dropping down out of British Columbia. Winds will be increasing ahead of it. So we see dispersion improving a bit across portions of Nevada, but still staying quite poor through here. And overall, our precipitation accumulation through days 4 and 5. Friday, this basically is from Monday morning through Wednesday morning. You can see that overall we should be fairly dry during the entire period. And the 8 to 14 day outlook, October 13th through the 19th, near normal temperatures, slightly drier than normal across many areas. This concludes our smoke briefing. Have a great weekend. Our next smoke briefing will be issued this coming Monday, issued Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays throughout the fall, winter, and spring months. Thanks, and have a great day. Have a great weekend.